Alrighty. I believe I am live. How is everyone doing today? I hope you all are doing fantastic. I hope. Mom's den. Oh, Mom's den hopped in earlier. I don't know if she's still here. Finally, I can watch your spoiler-free stream, at least for a bit. Yes, well, I'm very happy to have you here. Also, thank you for following me on Instagram, and also thank you for pointing out to me the some of the links weren't updated. I forgot I changed my username on Instagram recently, so I do need to update that. I did update it for like the most recent like 10 videos or something like that, but I still need to go through thoroughly and like update like all the descriptions, at least to a certain degree back. So thanks again for pointing that out to me. Yes, lots of the links need to be updated. Yeah, my website's name also changed recently, so. Conan Lucas, welcome to the stream. How are you doing? Evening, just getting some painting done. Thought I'd pop in. Awesome, awesome. What you painting? Let me guess. Imperial Guard? Imperial Guard? Or something else? I could be totally wrong. Or are you painting like a portrait? I'm guessing miniatures because that's the thing. That's the thing I do. But throwing out a guess. Imperial Guard for 40k. Typhus. Damn. Well, I hope that's going well. Yeah, I pretty much completely stopped collecting 40k right now. I'm not to sound depressing about it, but I'm actually kind of looking to sell all the unopened boxes of my 40k stuff, probably on eBay. Because I think not to be doomerish, but I think I might be done with 40k. I don't know. It's still a debate. There's so many good memories, so much good times, and all this other stuff I've had in 40k. But I think I'm at this point where enough has been done by not only by GW but also in the community to kind of really sour it for me. I'll never get rid of the minis I've painted and collected over the years, and I might still play some old games with a friend of mine. But I don't think I'm interested in collecting anymore. That's kind of the spot I'm at. I'm at that crossroads. I don't need to make. That's not a decision that needs to be made like right now. I'm still mulling it over, but that's been on my mind a little bit. And with my 3D printer, I have been getting into one-page rules, and printing off some of their minis while also designing my own mini. Also setting up everything for Warglaive, and it's a good way to test out the printer to see how it can handle like batch prints. And I've been painting up also a friend of mine who also has a 3D printer challenged me to a paint-off, and print-off, paint-off, as I've been calling it, where we both print off from one-page rules 2,000 points worth of armies. I'm doing 2,000 points of dwarves, and he's doing 2,000 points of mummified undead. So, yeah, I've only gotten a couple guys. The thing is, when it comes to painting, I'm super... Like, as my personality goes, I'm super detail-oriented, and I take a very long time to paint one mini. Like, I don't, like I don't sit through it at all. I really take my time. And I really paint my minis carefully as well. I still got to do the edge highlighting on this guy, but that's what I got. I don't know if it's going to show up on cam, but that's what I got for one of my Dwarven Berserkers. I got, like, 30 more of them to do, and this guy right here probably took me about 20-30 minutes, give or take. I do have some Katachan Ogrins in my paint pile. Well, there's something. I was close. With that regards, I was somewhat close. Malifaux is good. I'm enjoying that right now. Also Skyrim. Nice. Wait, Skyrim miniatures? Or are you talking video games? It's about, because now you're throwing me for a loop there. What? Yeah, I can't wait to actually play a game of one-page rules. It's reading all the core rules. The name is misleading. Not every rule fits on one page, but like each page fits like the entire data sheets for each race. So each race has one page of their data sheets, and then like the actual core rules of the game all fit on one page. So it's actually more like 15 pages rules, but they all fit on one. Each of the separate rules all fit on one page. So technically, the name is correct. Yep, minis from Modifius. They also do follow. Nice. I might have to look into that. I might have to look into that. I've been looking into Gundam kits as well, but as far as I've heard, some of the Gundam kits can get super goddamn expensive. And it's really cheap to do one-page rules for me right now. Like, one-page rules, it's Like, especially with I'm on his Patreon, and he gives discounts to his patrons up to 70% off. And boy, howdy, did we get he sells the STLs for fairly cheap as it is, but including that discount, damn, did I save. I bought like $300 worth of his STLs on his My Mini Factory, and once I put in that Patreon discount, it came out to like $50, like all of that. And then also when it comes to like printing each and individual miniature, each one is like a cent to print off for me. So it's super cheap for me to print off my own, and obviously I'm hoping to make money on my own tabletop game when I start printing off those miniatures. Hey, Mom's Den. Hey, Ball. Hey, Angry Cupcake. What's up, what's up, what's up? Greetings. Yes, greetings, Ball. Hiya, how are you doing? I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. How you doing, Ma? Hey, I almost said Mom. How you doing, V? That was a funny F-up. That was a funny fuck-up. I nailed that one. Yep. Just gabbing while we... I usually give people, and I think most of the people who tune into my streams know this by now, but just for the sake of it, I usually wait 10 minutes to let anybody who's interested in seeping into the stream show up. And then once we hit the 10-minute mark, that's when we, like, actually start stuff. So it's another 3 minutes. So just gabbing with you wonderful, sexy, wonderful people. You know why I said wonderful twice? Because it's all that more true. You wonderful, amazing, brilliant people, welcome, and thank you for coming into my stream. Leave a like. No, you don't have to. I'll earn the like, hopefully. I'm a dork. That's to be expected with my channel name. I'm doing quite well. Tiring day, but I'm ready for my evening. Nice. I hope your evening is relaxing and is a smooth running. I know you stream at 3, so you only have the next 44 minutes to go. And counting. As my math is completely off. 54 minutes. No, sorry. Yeah, my math is off. I was 10 minutes off. Well, technically, 44 makes sense, because you might want that 10 minutes to just get everything all set and prepped. What printer you use? I just got my second Voxelab Proxima. I use two Anycubic Photon Mono X's, which are $800 each. I have 2 of those, and I just had to I chipped the screen on one of mine, and the replacement screen just arrived in not the FEP screen, but the actual LCD monochrome screen. I had to buy a new one of those, and it just arrived today, and that cost me $160 on its own. So, hopefully, and the thing is, I have done a couple prints since I chipped the monochrome, the LCD monochrome screen on one of them. My older, it's only like 6 months old now. My older Anycubic Photon Mono X, and it seems to print just fine despite the chip. So I'm not going to replace the screen until I start noticing like actual issues with it. But so far it seems fine. I fell asleep after my dinner, just woke up behind on the painting. Well, I'm behind on the printing, but to be fair, your army has less minis in it. Mine has a lot more minis in my army, so it's taking a lot more to print them all off. Not to mention, on top of that, on top of having more minis to paint, I have less time to paint, and I also... Brain. No. Train of thought. Come back. No. I swear to you. Please come back. I'll treat you well. Okay, it's back. On top of having less time, having more to paint, I am also more of an obsessive painter than you are. Well, I say that. I don't know if that's true, but from my inner perspective, I'm a very anal painter. I'm tongue-tied. I'm doing great today. It's fantastic. Hello, Asmo. Favorite city of Middle-earth. Really? You are very one-note, my friend. If it's not Tolkien, do you talk about anything else? Favorite city. I'm thinking. I kind of want to say Minas Tirith. I know it's kind of cliche, but both how the movie handled it and how I pictured it in my head when I read the books, it always had such a grand nature to it. It always seemed so fantastic. It really felt like the bastion of humanity in the Lord of the Rings mythos. So for me, I think Minas Tirith. I would say Minas Tirith. I know it's cliche. I know it's probably not a very impressive answer, but it's probably my favorite, I'd have to say. My second one, I do have my second favorite city, but the second one is just because of how, like, evil I always picture it looking and how menacing. And that would be, I can't remember the name of the city, though. Like, that's the problem. It's not like, and I don't even know if it counts as a city. I think it might just be a keep, but, I'm going to say city. It's where the Witch King was in Mordor. It's, Sam and Frodo passed by it when they were climbing through into Mordor. It used to be Gondor controlled, but then it was taken by the orcs and by Mordor's forces. Why won't it come back to my mind? I always try to remember the name, but it always just doesn't come back. It's going to be full of FF, hopefully. Yep, 40-ish min. This is a nice warm-up party for me. Nice. I've cracked screen and it prints okay, just light bleed. Yeah. Yeah, again, as long as that chip in my LCD screen doesn't present any issues, I'm good. That's my old photon. Oh, your old... Okay, your previous burner, okay. It was very Ishgard. Yeah, kind of. Ishgard's a little bit more, like, dark. And obviously when we got to it, it was a lot more damaged. War-torn. So it's kind of like... There's definitely some carryover. I agree with that. I would say, especially if we're going by the books, Minas Tirith was a lot less grounded than I would say Ishgard is. Ishgard was very grandiose, very fantastic, but I think a part of what separates them is Ishgard is, in a weird sense, more grounded than what I remember Minas Tirith really being described as in the novels. Minas Morgul. Thank you. Yes, Minas Morgul. I always forget the name of that one. I don't know why. Do you identify with the Sith code or the Jedi code? Sith code more. Isengard? No, not Isengard. Isengard's cool, but Isengard is definitely not a city. The Isengard is more of a... It's a singular building, really. Like, yeah, the surrounding parts of Isengard got turned into, like, a manufacturing plant for the orcs and the Uruks, but, anyway, we're at the 10-minute mark. So, real quick, I wanted to pose to y'all. So, I had 2 thumbnails prepared, and I had 2 titles, but I forgot to implement one of them. So, do you guys want me to actually move on to patch 4.1 and 4.2, or would you guys like me to start the Omega raids? I grabbed the first quest from Biggs, I think, or was it Wedge? I can't remember. They're not there anymore, but one of the two, Biggs or Wedge. I grabbed the initial quest with that, and was going to start it with when I was playing, because the thing is, the previous stream, for those who were there, kind of cut off when we were finishing up the Alexander raids, and I don't know why my internet it's been weird. It only happens when I stream, so I think it might be connected to that, but my internet just dies for like a solid 3 to 5 minutes at random points. Sometimes I'm lucky and I go a whole stream without it ever happening, and I would for a long time without having to do with it, but the last like 2-3 weeks it's just been doing that every time I've streamed, at some point during the stream, I don't know why, the entire internet in the house just dies for like 5 minutes and then comes back. And I've resolved that if it happens today, I'm calling my ISP and demanding an answer. I've inquired about this before with them, and their BS, in my opinion, BS response was, oh, we don't detect any outages or issues in your area. It's like, bullshit. There's no way you're not detecting that you lose connection to a whole household, especially when they're a small, locally owned ISP. It's not like Spectrum or Comcast or the big one. It's a locally owned ISP. So I don't know how they magically lose track of one of their double-digit customers. They don't have that many people. So I don't know. It's irritating, so hopefully it won't happen. You use a VPN, could be DDoS. I have a VPN, but I don't. The thing is, I can't turn it on while streaming because the VPN will cause the stream to crash because it's trying to code all my. It's trying to encode all my information. Yeah, so it could be a DDoS. I doubt it. And because DDoS is usually there's some kind of sign, and DDoS. Usually there's a sign for that. But you're right. It could be, but I don't have my. I make sure to have my VPN off while I stream, and in fact, I completely close it out and turn it off, like in my computer, to make sure it doesn't happen. So I don't think that's the. For me, that's the problem. Is that I just don't know what's the cause. Whatever the case, do you guys want me to? Assuming the stream doesn't have a cut like it did before, you guys want me to start in on patches 4.1 and 4.2? And get into the Legend Return stuff, or do you guys want me to do the Omega Raid, or Omega Raids? If so, I gotta change the title and the thumbnail real quick, which won't take more than a second, because I pre-made the thumbnail and I have the title in mind. When you say episode, are you talking about the actual series, like Star Wars: The Clone Wars and Rebels, or are you asking more like which movie? And when you say non-classic, do you mean original trilogy? All right, 4.1, 4.1/2, 4.1, 4.2. Okay, got 2 votes for that. I won't be here the whole time, but would love to see your 4.0 and beyond. Yeah, I already finished 4.0. 4.0 is now done. I'm now on to post Stormblood content and pre Shadowbringers content. So yeah, we got 2 votes. We got two either ors. Assuming that's it. All right. So if that speaks for everybody, we'll. Okay. The patches then. Alrighty. Then boom boom. We'll start off in the patches then. Favorite non-original trilogy movie? Oh, okay. Then that would have to be Revenge of the Sith, probably. I enjoy Phantom Menace quite a bit for specific scenes, not for the acting, obviously. But for me, the very first Star Wars film I watched, well, I did watch the original trilogy, but the first film that I remember leaving the biggest impact on me, because I was a little kid, mind you, like, when you're little, you don't really give a shit about the story. Like, you do a little bit, like, you're curious, but when you're young, especially when you're a young lad, typically what you care most about is the, hold on, let me double check the audio, I think it's a bit low. Yeah, it is. Okay. Yeah, when you're a young lad, you typically care more about the action, the spectacle, the effects. You care about like the flashy stuff a lot more when you're younger. So for me, I think the biggest impact on me for Star Wars was Phantom Menace, with not only the choreography of the lightsaber combat, which was absolutely god tier, but also the music. The music was absolutely brilliant. Duel of the Fates is still my favorite, other than the Imperial March, is still my favorite track from Star Wars. Like, it's my favorite music, period. And I think that can't be understated. And for all the people out, like, I still rant about this. I've loved the prequels since I was a kid. I've never ever been like, oh yeah, George Lucas, F those up. The most I ever did with that was I conceded to a friend of mine, and I even have a video of this on my old channel, like back when I did reaction videos, where a friend of mine, who's also a hardcore Star Wars fan, a friend of mine and I had a discussion where we talked about, like, after Star Wars The Force Awakens came out, it was before The Last Jedi came out and Rise of Skywalker, and we talked about, did we see Disney handling this well, and where do we see it going? And I was cautiously optimistic, and in my mind, I did believe Disney had a better chance of taking it somewhere than Lucas did. But that's because I remembered how he directed and how he handled the character acting in the prequels. And I don't think anyone can deny that that was bad. That needed work. An immense amount of work. But inevitably, I think... I thought at the time, anyway, that Disney had a better chance of it because it would have a lot more fresh perspectives coming in on the franchise and revive it. Little did I know Last Jedi would come out, and then Rise of Skywalker, and how terrible those were. I was like, nope, I was wrong. I was dead wrong. That was the only time I ever, that I can ever recall throughout my entire life that I've ever even remotely stated that Lucas did a bad job or did anything negative with Star Wars. And even then, I don't think he's... The worst he's ever done is better than the best Disney has done with it so far. They ruined it! Yes, exactly, Yuki. You nailed it. Also, Yuki, did I welcome you properly? I don't think I did. Well, just in case I didn't. Welcome, Yuki. I know you've been there, but I don't think I welcomed you properly. I was in the middle of a tirade when you popped in. I might be why. Hey, Billy Mount. Not just the prequels, what about the special editions of the original trilogy? I didn't mind the special editions. They didn't really add or improve anything to me, but I didn't really mind them. They were neither here nor there. Like, people talk about, like, oh, special edition, original edition, like they really affect it. In my opinion, they don't really affect anything. The core story and the core events are still there. Love the first 6, meh, 7, 8, and 9, I do not like. I agree with that sentiment. That pretty much sums up my sentiment. No worries at work, so I'm mostly lucky. Nah, I get it. Yeah, don't get fired. Don't get in trouble. Like he's watching videos. Or she. Like, I don't know. I'm not gonna presume. They're watching videos. I hope you don't get in trouble watching my stream while you're at work, and I hope you enjoy. Hope you enjoy indeed. All right. All they did was update the visual effects, yeah, and change the small editing amounts and stuff. But it was again neither here nor there. Didn't really help or hurt the movies at all. All right, now on to 4.1. Box. We get an emote from this one.
Come to see how we're getting on?
Indeed.
We've made good progress since we took back Alamigo, but there's one big issue we still have to address.
And what is that?
Leadership. The Domans had Lord Hien ready and willing to take the throne, but we've got no one like that here.
What about you?
Theodoric was our last ruler, and he wasn't called the Mad King for nothing.
Game of Thrones called. Sorry, had to. The Mad King. Get your decision, dork. Yeah, you don't need to. You come at your leisure.
Suffice it to say, our people have had their fill of kings, which means we need to find a new way forward.
If only it were that easy. Everyone and his uncle has an opinion.
True. You just gotta collect the what's the most popular opinion.
For the time being, we're just going to have to keep leaning on General Aldin and the Alliance for support, and see if we can't find a solution together. Something tells me we're going to be hosting a lot of meetings in the near future.
Yay! Talking!
But if that's what it takes, I'm ready to talk till my jaw aches. The reach is yours, Nago. Don't do anything I wouldn't.
Aye, aye, Commander.
Yeah, like, they don't have to go the route of a king. Like, I recommend, like, a republic. Perhaps with a senate. Like, a council of minds, perhaps representing the people. Elected officials, if you will. Taking over.
Ah, there you are. I've been searching all over for you.
Hey, they got a full-blown voice actor for Arnvold. Fantastic.
Don't worry, it's nothing bad. That said, this might not be the best place to talk. Will you join me?
Sure thing. I do like his armor. It looks kind of basic, but I do like it.
I'll get to the point. Might you be interested in a spot of adventure?
I mean, yes. I do enjoy me a good adventure.
After all, we were adventurous before we were scions, were we not?
Yes, that would be correct.
After routing the Imperials and liberating Alamigo, I reckon we've earned a bit of respite, don't you? And what better way to spend it than by returning to our roots? So, what say you? Shall we call on Alphino and go adventuring?
Seems kind of random. Twist my arm, why don't you? Or it's what we do, I suppose. So begrudging or high energy excitement? I'd probably go. Why not be optimistic? Twist my arm, why don't you? Let's do it. Let's go on an adventure. Yahoo! All of a sudden, like, the One Piece music is playing in the back of my head. Alright. Right then, let's go and find Master Levelier. Actually, leave that to me. I want you fresh for our little adventure. Wait for us by the Aetheryte, and we'll be along shortly. See you there. Alright. Alright. Yeah! Out of curiosity, are the... Because I know the relic weapons for A Realm Reborn and Heavensward were just buyable from merchants, like using poetics. Can you do the same for... Can you just do the same for Stormbloods, or is that locked behind some kind of activity? I haven't looked into that yet. Right, wait for them here. You love my dark dude? So do I. That's why I have him that way. I'm glad you like him. I like him so much, he's now part of the artwork on my channel. It's brilliant. I had a hair in my mouth. Yeah. Ironworks is with Poetics. Yeah, Ironworks is, but so is also the Shire gear was also purchasable via Poetics. Both of those were purchasable with Poetics. I don't know if whatever gear sets there are for Stormblood's content is the same. Kugane ni near Aetheryte. Okay, we'll look at that. I don't know if that's unlocked yet. Greetings, Shroud. It would seem we are to accompany Arenvold on some manner of escapade. Have you any idea what we've gotten ourselves into? Allow me to explain. It'll be something of a history lesson, but I'll try to be brief. No snoring, if you please. Now, the events I would speak of occurring before the occupation, back when Alamigo was still a monarchy and Theodoric sat the throne. A uniquely brutal despot by all accounts. That he was. The King of Ruins suffered no rivals, real or imagined, and his dispute with the monks of the Fist ended with Ralga's Reach being burned to the ground. In the latter years of his rule, he was seized by the unshakable belief that unseen forces were conspiring to steal his crown, and so he ordered that every soul with a claim to the throne be executed, including his own family. The wealth of the poor sods he put to death became the property of the king, and it said that these royal treasures were hoarded somewhere in the palace. Thus was born the legend of the Mad King's Trove. Ah, I believe I see the direction our adventure is to take. I assume you have a mind to unearth this hidden bounty? You assume correctly. And would I also be correct in assuming that this legend is widely known? Others must surely have gone in search for your prize, tempting as it seems. Well, of course we won't be the first to make the attempt. Following Alamigo's liberation, more than a few eager soldiers turned to Palace upside down in hopes of claiming an easy fortune. But even after scouring every room from dawn till dusk, they uncovered not a single coin. Their gold lust drained away as quickly as it had come, and the legend of the Mad King's Trove remains simply that, a legend. But I see you have no intention of letting the story end there. What self-respecting adventurer would? Imagine the three of us delving into a decades-old mystery. Tell me the thought doesn't set your heart to racing. Alright. My adventurer blood is boiling. Enthusiasm! I don't know why we got the emo for boxing, though, for that one. I say we create a system run by a tight-knit council of elected reps who, through public trials and competitions of mind, philosophy, and morality, and strength of character. Maybe then they'll be worthy. It definitely should go through a sort of trials, yeah, I would agree with that. Skaven gear can be purchased here with Poetics, the vendor unlocked after 4.0. Okay. I think I have full poetic amounts right now. Don't quote me, though. It's currencies. Currency. Nope, I don't. I haven't loaded up on Poetics. But I can at least buy at least one set before we continue. Alright, let me grab this quest and we'll run over to Kugane and pick up what we can with what we got. Probably not much with the amount of Poetics we have. Ooh. The news of Doma and Alamigo's liberation has kindled the flames of revolution in every corner of the Empire. I hear the Imperial province of Dalamasca has already risen up in rebellion. Which means the Garleans must surely have their hands full. What better time than now to indulge in such a diversion? Tell us, Onward, have we any clues as to where we might begin our search? Well, judging by how the other treasure hunters fared, nosing about the palace isn't like to get us anywhere. So, we'll probably need to, ask around. Would that be another way of saying no? Well, yes. I see. In that case, I shall pay a visit to the Allied Archivist and request access to the records seized from the Imperials. The Garleans are meticulous about such things. If they uncovered the trove during their occupation, the event is certain to have been recorded. In the meantime, the two of you can track down those who worked as palace servants and officials in Theodric's day. Given that they would have been at least 20 at the time, you will be looking for people who've seen 40 summers or more. Anything they can tell you about the king and his bloody deeds may prove useful, so be sure to listen well. Arnvold, pray try your luck in the fringes and the peaks while Shroud makes the rounds in the Alamigan quarter. Ha! And there I was thinking I was the party leader. Not that I mind, of course. Let's be about it, eh? We can meet afterwards at Gilbard's Gate. Tally-ho! Have you seen the opening intro for the live-action Cowboy Bebop, and how do you feel about it? I have not seen it. You're looking forward to it? I'm not. You can go to Kugane, but there's a vendor in Rauger's Reach, too. Oh, there is a vendor? Where's the vendor in Rauger? Is it near the Aetheryte? I need to do more activities where I get Poetics. I thought I was full on Poetics. I only have 1,000. A mere 1,000? Bah! Pathetic. downright embarrassing. Most animated live action usually suck, right? I mean, that's entirely opinion to opinion, but I would say, yeah, generally. I would say 99% of live action anime adaptations are royally shitty. Ralger has level 60 Ironworks. Kugane level 70. Okay, well, then we gotta go to Kugane. I'm a bit higher than level 60. For 1,000 gil, we now travel. Tally-ho! It has given too. God damn it. Does Last Airbender count? And technically yes, but even then, cartoon, live-action cartoon adaptations, kind of the same rule. They are very rarely as good. Rowena's representative, I believe this is the one. Hello? Tank, correct. Note to self, after stream today, I gotta grind some poetics. What's that look like, anyway? That's weird. Ew! That's actually kinda cool. It's a transforming weapon. It does only a measly 15 more damage. The Skaven gear kind of looks like the Ironworks gear from A Realm Reborn. Alright, let me divvy up the cash here. If I get the weapon, that's 600 poetics right there, and if I get if I spend that, I'm not gonna have enough to get the chest piece. So we get the chest piece for now. And we get the trousers as well. Okay, they look a little different. Well, anywho. Alright, so we gotta equip that. Real quick. I'm gonna cast a glamour. There, we're back to looking like our sexy selves. Alright, note to self, grind activities that have poetics later. Alright, now, where was I? Yes, right. The Alamegan Quarter. That's another thing about Netflix is doing another live-action Avatar, but it's a series. Yeah, I'm not interested. I couldn't care less. I don't know why they keep trying to remake. The thing is, Avatar's not even that old. Like, I know it was made in the early 2000s, and that's technically over a decade old now, but just because something is 10 years old doesn't mean that you can magically it deserves a remake. I remember when remakes were about things that were made in, like, the 1940s being made in the 90s. Like, John Carpenter's The Thing, for example, was technically a remake of the original The Thing from Another World, which was made back when color wasn't even a thing on screen yet. Like that used to be the expectation about films. Is oh, if we're gonna do a remake, we're gonna do a remake of something barely anybody remembers. Now we're remaking things that are barely a decade old, if that. And even then, Avatar, the animated series, the cartoon, is so timeless. I really don't think you can remake it, unless you literally copy and paste the plot exactly. You're not gonna do an adaptation anybody wants to see, and if you do that, why would they watch that over the original? It's completely pointless. I'm sick and tired of Hollywood being so devoid of creativity that we have to remake everything that was once good because all of our new ideas suck. Oh god, it's so annoying. Come up with something new. There's like look at Japan. There's like 3,000 different series that are all under the isekai genre, and all of them are different enough from one another to be so goddamn awesome. Like how do they do that? They make different series all the time, all in the same branch of like isekai, and yet all of them are so unique from one another that each of them are worth watching in their own right, give or take some Peter Grills, you know. Like, goddamn, what happened to creativity? Goddamn dead in the West. With the exception of myself and a few indie creators, of course. But mainstream Hollywood, mainstream comics, mainstream all that stuff is just dead and boring. In the palace? No, not me, lad. Surely you've heard stories of the Mad King. He used to hold public executions up on the divine audience. Anyone, and I mean anyone, suspected of conspiring against the crown was flung from the top of those steps. Suffice it to say that I stayed as far away from the palace as possible. Fair enough. I mean, that is fair. Like, oh, Mender, repair my shit. And real quick, just making sure everything. While I'm thinking about it, I'm making sure everything in my inventory is also repaired. Alright, there you go. Just making sure. Office for Chads only? What? A grand tourney, perhaps? Give common folks something to hold their attention. Make those bastards earn the right through their own willpower. I don't know if I will say I agree to a degree. Being able to prove their martial prowess, so they have the right to lead the military, is kind of necessary. I think the tournament would have to be very specific. You can't make it too deadly, because that means a lot less people will be willing to do it. But at the same time, if you don't make it deadly enough, then everyone with a stick will try and become the nation's leader. You want to hear an old maid's stories, do you? Aye, well, most of what I know of the Mad King is common knowledge. We'd only see his royal majesty when he deigned to attend the executions he'd ordered, and after a while, even watching his enemies die wasn't enough to coax him out of hiding. They say he started seeing assassins in every shadow, and wouldn't set foot outside the palace walls. I was offered work there as a royal servant once, but the mere thought of it left me a cold sweat. Damn, no information there. And our last speaker is down this way. Music cuts out at random times. Retired Rogadin. I served at the pleasure of the King Theodoric, and lived to tell the tale. One of the palace guards I was. Truth be told, it was a dark chapter in my life, and one I'd sooner forget. Hardly a night went by when we didn't hear blood-curdling screams echoing from the inner chambers, which, of course, we were under orders to ignore. So we'd stand still as statues, trying not to imagine what horrors were unfolding within. If you're hell's bent on finding out what happened in the palace, head down the street here and ask old Arnold. He was the king's head scribe. Aye, aye. Doing has to be free. Alright. Arnold.
Yes, I'm Arnold. What do you want with me? You would have me dredge up some decidedly unsavory memories. Yet if Alamigo is to move forward, we must needs acknowledge the misdeeds of the past. Very well, I shall tell you what I remember. I take it you know of Theodoric's paranoia and the public executions of his kinsmen. Those were terrible enough, but in his last days the king's fevered mind settled upon an even grislier method of disposal, which only a chosen few were unfortunate enough to witness. His Majesty ordered the court thaumaturge to unleash a vile curse upon the remaining members of the royal family, a magic which transformed them into fiends of hideous aspect. The resulting monstrosities were then cast into the darkness below the palace. Even now my sleep is troubled by nightmares. If others of Theodoric's blood were prone to share his madness, then perhaps it is his kindness that the monarchy ended with him.
So yeah, definitely. I don't know when this was written, but I'm getting strong Game of Thrones, Mad King vibes there. I don't know. I'm not going to claim it as a ripoff, but it's the same idea. And they're still doing it their own unique ways, so it's definitely not a ripoff. It's not that Hollywood is bereft of new ideas. It's that it's easier and several times more profitable and safe to make more of what people already know and love. True, but people already watch what they have already watched what they know and love. They don't want to watch it again. And yeah, if they do, they can watch the original. Watching it repackaged and sold to them again and again. There's only so many times you could do that before people catch on. Even the most normie of normie, sheepy, like consumers of Hollywood and entertainment eventually will start to pick up. Hey, I watched this already. The only difference is it's live action with a bunch of shitty CGI. Why am I watching this? Eventually people are going to stop. People are going to stop going to the theater. People are going to stop subscribing to subscription services that only offer that are trying to offer them, oh, we got this latest Netflix original. Oh, we got this latest Disney Plus original. Great. What's it about? Oh, it's about this other thing that we already made like a decade and a half ago. I don't care! Since we're all here, why don't we start with what we learned? Allow me to begin then. As promised, I scoured the Imperial records for any mention of fantastic treasures, and found precisely none. It is just possible, I suppose, that a corrupt official deliberately hid the fact of the trove's discovery, hoping to enrich himself, but I find it rather unlikely that so valuable a find would stay secret for long. I conclude that our prize either does not exist, or that the Imperials somehow overlooked it. But what of you, Shroud? What were your investigations any more fruitful? Turned into monsters? And what could he mean by this darkness beneath the palace, I wonder? I met an old man in Alagiri, who spoke of the palace's subterranean prison, but he said naught of cursed abominations. The Imperial archives were also silent on the subject of fiends inside the palace grounds. Could this scribe fellow have been spinning him a yarn, do you think? Did you believe him, Shroud? And his fear to me seemed genuine. But that's just reading it in text. If he was afraid, that does lend credence to the tale, though I'm not sure how that helps us in our search. Do not be so hasty. Arnold's anecdote may very well have told us where the trove is hidden, but ere I share my theory, there is a matter I would clarify. Arnvold, you spoke of a light-hearted adventure, but I sense a deeper motive for this expedition. Why are you so intent on finding this treasure?
It wasn't all pretense, I swear it. But you're right. My father was in the Imperial Army, a man of Garlean blood. I trust you know what I mean when I say that my Alamegan mother did not welcome my arrival. Yeesh. As I grew, she would check my brow over and over, convinced that a spot on my skin was emerging a third eye, like the kind you see in pure-blood Garleans. My mother did not care for this taunting reminder of my heritage, and took up a knife. Oh. That explains the bangs. War paint and your hair. War paint serves to cover the scar. In the end, she turned me out into the street, and I was left to haunt the alleyways of Alamigo. A feral child who got what he needed through begging, cunning, or worse. The best I could say about the years that followed is that I survived, but I hated the animal I'd become. Eventually, I left the city behind me and joined a group of refugees bound for the other side of the wall. It was then that I turned to adventuring, and that road led me into the company of the Scions. I tell you this so that you understand. I know all too well what poverty and hunger can do to a person. I drew steel on ordinary folk for a measly crust of bread. With Theodric's gold, I could spare my countrymen the shame of living like that. Thank you, Onward, and I apologize. That cannot have been pleasant to recall, but I felt it best to be clear in our intentions. Well, Shroud, are you content to surrender the treasure to Onward's noble cause and claim the thrill of adventure as your reward? Yeah, definitely. Then I should be glad to tell you my theory on the resting place of the Mad King's Trove, if you're minded to hear it. Indeed I am. Actually, mayhap it would be better if we first adjourned to a more suitable location. In case a rival treasure hunter overhears our plans, you mean? Good thinking. That was not exactly the reason, but 'tis certainly a valid concern. Let us reconvene on the southern edge of Loch Seld. The plot thickens!
By the way, the tourney applies to the positions of Prime Minister and President too. The tourney would be more akin to games of mind and psychological warfare, as well as all the other stuff. Alright. You thought this out. My fiery unicorn of death. Double A, you have asked my opinion, you have asked my opinion on what physical aspects of the opposite sex I am most attracted to more times than any date I have ever had. What the hell? Such a random question. I think I've answered it before. I think you've asked that question before. Ooh, this is such a whole intro to the story. This is such a whole intro to the story. It's only been 3 times. Okay, so you know you've asked. What? Yes. And every woman I have ever dated has never even asked me that question. Usually they figure it out if the relationship actually lasts. Hey, Draw, what's up? Please, could you answer again? Why do you want to know? I really want to know why you want to know. Why are you interested in my tastes? I gotta know this. Like, what's the motivation behind the question? Cool, autocorrect. Okay, so whole was supposed to be cool. Okay, this is such a cool intro to the story. It is very cool. They're already setting up a deep investment on Arnvold. I really have a bad feeling he's gonna die. Hopefully they don't. Hopefully that's a completely irrelevant fear. But it's one of those things where at this point, every time a new character is introduced and they start to get you attached to them more and you learn more about them, I'm like, fuck. Death flags everywhere. Alpha, therefore I wouldn't even really call myself an alpha. Like, I'm not an alpha personality, believe it or not. And I know, like, a lot of people are gonna make jokes about it, but technically speaking, I am a beta personality. Now, I know, again, lots of people are gonna be, oh, he's a beta, he admitted it, oh, yeah, get the jokes out of the way. But when we actually talk about the personality archetypes of alpha and beta, alphas are extroverted, they're high energy, typically they're very assertive, bold, and controlling. Controlling in not necessarily a bad way, just more that they're confident in... They have confidence and they're a bit, oftentimes, bravos. That's like the alpha personality type. The type that takes charge, the kind that are never really satisfied with following, but they'll settle for that, but oftentimes they prefer to be the leader, they prefer to settle things, and they also prefer to be the strongest, smartest, usually the best in their class to a degree. That's like an alpha personality. Beta personality, again, though there's lots of memes and jokes about it, beta personalities are usually introverts, reserved, not necessarily people who are born leaders and don't oftentimes like being leaders. That doesn't mean they can't be. There's a lot of beta personalities that end up becoming managers, supervisors, that become leaders in their own right. But usually it's begrudgingly or out of necessity. They don't actively hunt for it unless they need to. Additionally, beta personalities, on top of being introverted and more begrudging about when it comes to taking authority, oftentimes they're not necessarily weak, but they're more apt to follow an alpha personality. So I would say definitely I'm a beta personality. Like, I will take control if let's say I'm in a group scenario and the alpha personality in the group is someone who's a complete dumbass and doesn't know what they're doing. I'll take charge out of necessity, but I don't actively hunt to like control or lead others. I will out of necessity, but I will not like. I don't actively hunt to be the leader of like my nearby groups. I'm not very extroverted. I mean, that's kind of true, kind of not. I'm extroverted with people I get to know a little bit and that have gotten to know me. If I've had interactions with you and you've learned a little bit about me, I've learned a little bit about you, I then become extroverted with you. Like, I'll be high energy, I'll talk to you with enthusiasm, and I eagerly await the next time I can be in your company. And I enjoy being the clown of the group. I enjoy making a fool of myself if it means my friends who are with me also get the enjoyment out of it and get satisfaction out of it. I'll even pull pranks from time to time. So in that sense, I'm slightly in the alpha category with the extroversion, but that's only once I get to know somebody. If I don't know you, I'm not extroverted around strangers. I'm not extroverted by myself. Like, I'm not very extroverted outside of groups I'm comfortable with and I trust, and I feel that they understand me enough to know that if my extroversions lead to me doing something stupid and it offends them, that they understand that that wasn't the intention. The intention was to be a goofball. The intention was to bring a bit of excitement, energy, and enthusiasm to it. So in that sense, I'm a little in the alpha category, but I'm still mostly an introvert for the most part. I know it doesn't come off in the streams that I am, and that's because, you know, I have the upside of you guys are not in the room with me. Like, I'm not being like, yeah, there's a number telling me, oh, 9 people are watching me right now, right? But I don't actually feel that pressure of like 9 people are watching me in a room. Like, if 9 people were like around me physically watching me do something, I might be dead silent. And I might be incredibly uncomfortable. But because of that separation of the screen, I feel that I do know that you guys are watching. I know real people are watching me right now, commenting, laughing, all that kind of stuff. But I still have that barrier of that pressure. So I enjoy this kind of interaction. I'm able to be extroverted like this very easily. Yeah, so I am very much so a more beta personality. That doesn't mean you can push me around, because that's the thing. That's the big misunderstanding most people have about alpha and beta personalities, and that's kind of what the meme has bled into. Is that, oh, beta personalities are subservient, they're weak, they're pussies, you know, they're people who are afraid to speak up for themselves. Not true. My dad's a beta personality. My dad's 6'1". He's a manager at a military contracting military contracting. He's tough as nails. He's built the entire farm my family lives on by himself, more or less. He takes charge all the time in any given situation. But he's a beta personality because he's not very energetic. He's not very controlling. He's very passive in how his authority works. That's so, you know, and he's the kind of person that a lot of people would picture as an alpha personality. He's tall, he's muscular, he's strong, he's assertive. These are all things that people just assume alphas are. But again, it's the way you're those things that defines whether you're an alpha personality or beta. You could be all those things, but if you're reserved about your authority, if you're not constantly overpowering everybody with your authority and with your control, if you're not, you know, if you're not like a dude bro, essentially, you're probably a beta personality. So a lot of people don't know what beta and alpha really mean. They think they do. A lot of people think they understand it. It's not as simple as people have more or less decided it is. Yeah. You can't people I've worked with alpha personalities that I have had to put in their place several times. Like when I worked for the military. When I worked for the military, we had a new guy join in, and we were doing I can't say exactly what we're doing because of the military's NDA. We were doing a project, we'll call it like that, and we all had to work together and communicate with one another, and we were all split up into like sub-teams. There wasn't enough managers or supervisors to control each team, so a temporary officer was kind of assigned to control each group while we worked on our individual tasks, right? And the one we got, one guy volunteered who was an older guy. He was about 36, 37, when I was 20. Well, actually, I think it was 19, almost 20 at this point. And he took charge, but he was very uncommunicative. He was disrespectful. He wouldn't respond to emails, and he wasn't very good at being a leader. He was boisterous, he was extroverted. When we were all there together in person, he was very excitable and very like, all right, so let's get to work. Let's, you know, okay, you got to do this today. We got to get this done today. This design needs to be done by the end of this week. Like, when we were in person, that alpha personality came out 100%. But when it came to actually doing his job, like via emails, via communication, doing all the extra stuff that you need to do if you're going to be a leader, he didn't do. And when our team had a lot of miscommunication issues, and he was blaming us for it, I stood up and I was a whole, I want to say 2 inches above him in height. I looked him dead in the eye and I said, you need to communicate. You're getting on our case. You're treating us like garbage. You're talking to us like we're responsible for the whole thing being behind when you were supposed to be the leader. You're the temporary officer that has been assigned to our group as we're working on this design. And you are not communicating. You are not telling us. You're loud. You're obnoxious. You're an asshole when we're together, telling us what to do. But when it comes to emails, when it comes to at-home communication, when it comes to coordination at the beginning and the end of the day, where the hell are you? You're gone. So, either you step down, and I will take your officer seat for the remainder of this project, because I could go right to our manager for the floor and ask for that, because our productivity was down, and they were already considering replacing him, so I was just going to go volunteer. Either that happens, or you do your job, and we get our job done, and we don't all get reprimanded, or, at worst case scenario, all get fired because you're not communicating. And he tried to, he puffed out his chest. He felt threatened. But I didn't back off. I told him to fuck off, and he stepped down. He took a step back, and he's like, okay. Because he sensed I wasn't gonna budge. So I walked right to the manager's office after he just backed off, and I got the officer designation. His was removed. I was given the authority email, and I got our team reorganized. I didn't want to be the leader, but I didn't want to get fired either. So, I got us reorganized, I communicated with everybody, and we got the project done. It took a little time, but we got it done. And I'm not saying, like, oh, magically after that we had no problems, I was the perfect one. No, I wasn't perfect. But I at least knew what we had to do. And that was his problem. He didn't... Personality up here, sensibility down here. That kind of thing. Betas are easier to get along with long term. Yes, they are, Mom's Den. I would say so, for the most part. I feel the same way. Streamers have the benefit of being physically alone. Yep, it makes it a lot easier when you don't have real eyes staring at you. I've been for a few minutes on my supper. Where's the convo gone? Talking about alphas and betas as like archetypes. It started out with AA asking me whether I like women's butts or their breasts more. Which, he himself admits that's the third time he's asked that. And I pointed out that no woman I have ever dated has even asked that question. So, it started out weird, it's ending weird. I feel it's common to be reserved with people until you get to know them. I'm the same way of being quiet. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, though, is that's what differs. Beta personalities are actually far more common. Like, 90% of people in the world are beta personalities. Alpha personalities are the type of people that become CEOs, they become business owners, they become lawyers, they become the upper echelons of society's most active and affluent and public speakers, because they're alpha personalities. You have to be comfortable in that kind of environment. Beta personalities are people who are more reserved. They're more willing to acquiesce to authority. And they're introverts typically. So yeah, most people are beta personalities. That's the thing. Most people say beta like oh, that guy's an alpha, that guy's a beta. But they don't have an idea what those terms mean. A good vast majority of people are beta personalities. The type of people throughout history who are alpha personalities are like Caesar, Alexander the Great. You know, great kings and queens of ancient times are all alpha personalities. Because they had to be. They had to be for their time. Alpha personalities are usually the ones that rise up into the world. Are all simps betas? Yes. Hell, they're so bad. I think that they're creating an even lower designation than beta. Excuse me. But in the case of alphas are not the normal. Alphas are a rare breed of the modern world. Like, believe it or not, like, to use I don't want to talk about him too much because I don't really like that sphere of content creation. But Keemstar for Drama Lord, he's an alpha personality. He's loud, he's assertive, he's confident. These are all alpha personality traits. Keemstar, I would call an alpha personality. That's another more modern example if you know him. Again, I'm not going to talk more about him than that. Like, I'm just going to leave it at that. But that's just an example some of you might know. I come back after reviewing. Okay. Food, how do we get to talk about pace? There are many beta lawyers, though. They just fake the alpha personality. You're right to a degree, yeah. There are many lawyers that are more reserved naturally, but kind of force themselves to be an alpha personality in the moment. That is true. But a good... most of those types of lawyers will see success, of course, because there's a lot of other beta lawyers. But the few alpha ones amongst the group are actually oftentimes going to be the most recognizable and probably the most successful and affluent lawyers are alpha personalities. So, like, the most notable lawyers throughout history were probably alpha personalities. Because, again, they had that assertiveness, they had that confidence, they had that boisterousness that you kind of need to be a lawyer. A good one, anyway. And, of course, we're talking about... There's a debate of prosecution versus defense lawyer. We're not going to get into that. No, AA, no, don't, no. No, I'm not answering that question. I am not answering that question. I am not answering that question. Alright, moving on. Forgive me. 'Twas not my intention to draw out proceedings. I simply wished to have the lock in sight while I explained things. Prior to the Great Flood of the Sixth Umbral Calamity, the salt lakes you see before you were yet dry ravines, and this, believe it or not, was the site of the ancient city of Scala, which rose and fell during the fifth astral era. From what we know of the period, the city was already deserted by the time the waters began to rise, having been all but destroyed by war. Yet its ruins remain to this day at the bottom of Loch Seld. It is my belief that the darkness beneath the palace, mentioned by Theodric's former scribe, was not in reference to the prison, but to a place still further below the ruins of Scala. I further surmise that the Mad King's unfortunate kinsmen were cast down there, not simply out of a desire to punish them, but to discourage exploration. Theodric wanted to keep the ruins secure. Wait, you're saying they were meant to guard the Mad King's trove? I mean, it would, in his madness, that would make sense, wouldn't it? Like, if you're gonna have a treasure, you're gonna want it guarded. Precisely. And since we know the court thaumaturge was involved, we can safely assume that any entrance into the old city will have been magically concealed. Which would explain how a legion of Imperial soldiers and the gods know how many Alamegans never found a trace of the trove. We, however, have certain advantages which they did not enjoy. Shroud, would you be so good as to swim down to the bottom of the loch and search for an underwater route into the ruins? While you do that, Onward and I will seek out the ensorcelled portal within the palace. Yeah, send me to the bottom of the lake. I got it. Alright, we're swimming down. Horsey? Ride. Look how hot that fire is. It's so hot it's burning rather affluently throughout the water. Perks of breathing underwater, indeed. Now, how deep does this go? Little icicles. There we are.
You discover a passage that appears to lead under the palace foundations. Press on and find out where it goes.
This would make one hell of a fish tank. I mean, technically, yeah. Would you even really be able to call it a tank, though? I don't think so. I think it's too big. Come to a one stone standing temporarily ajar would appear. Okay. Shroud, it's Alphino. We have searched the prison beneath the palace and found a door concealed by enchantments. Have you aught to report? And you believe it leads into the ruins? Excellent. Then I propose we proceed with our prospective entry points and look to meet somewhere in the middle. Oh, come on, lads. We might as well make it a race. Victory goes to the first adventurer to find the treasure. Godspeed! Well, at least he's energetic about the whole situation. Tally ho! It's a dungeon, isn't it? Yeah, it's a dungeon. Course it is. Why wouldn't it be? Alright, let's run it. Let's do this! Tally ho! I mean, with all the sandcastles. True, it'd be one very decorative. It'd be a very nice and decorative little castle in a fish tank. These I even have fish, so I know what that's supposed to look like. Alright, so we're all queued up. It's very relaxing music. I gotta say, the soundtrack for FF is very specific tracks, of course, are very, very good to fall asleep to. It's just like so like, oh god, makes you just want to like lean back and be like, relaxation, you know. They got a head start because you gotta wait in queue. True. If I beat them there, I'm gonna laugh. It's like, motherfucker, I had to wait in queue, and you still showed up later. I had to wait in queue, I had to fight my way through this dungeon, I had to kill several bosses. And how long did it take y'all? They're probably gonna beat me there. Narratively speaking, I'm assuming. They may very well not. Hopeless Race puts me to sleep easy. Really good OST in FFXIV. Yeah. I don't know the one off the top of my head, but there's again, the soundtrack is just so relaxing sometimes. Like Matoya's Cave, I adore that theme. Matoya's Cave is a really good theme, yeah. So I'm just vibing a little bit. It took a second. There it goes. Telly here. Into the great Mad King's Trove. Seems like an interesting way to start out the post 4.0 arc. With the treasure hunt.
Well, I'll be damned.
The drowned city of Scala. No, didn't want to skip it. Alright, tank stance on. Telly here. Whoa, 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 what the fuck? The hell? What was doing so much damage? Oh my... The healer forgot to heal. They just said in chat, Nox Nostri, our healer, said, I'm not gonna lie, I totally forgot to heal. Really, healer? Come on. I shouldn't need to pull out all of my damage mitigation in the start. Come on, aggro on me. Aggro on me. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. And yeah, there we go. Yeah, the healer just said, yeah, I'm paying attention now, you can do big pulls. You better be paying attention, you let me die before! Preferably don't do that. Alright, here we go. First boss. Alright, everybody's here. Oh, whoops. There we go. Going down. There we go. Damn it, I got dropsy. And she down. Alright, making a way through. Alright, big pools, big pools. Bada bing, bada boom. Rip Scottish water horse. Wait, what made it Scottish? Alright, come on. That was a mechanic shit show. Crap, about to die. Alright. Next pool. Boom. Next boss. Alright, here we go. Oh, come on. I hate it when bosses do that, where they just literally turn around from you and like, fuck you. Oh crap. Shatterstone? Alright, drop the bomb. See, these are the type of mechanics I like, though. Where it's not just area of effects shit, it's also, like, status shit. Because it's more creative. Crap. It makes it more dynamic, more fun for me, yeah? Oh crap. Agreed. What, we're not grabbing the treasure coffer? Everybody walked right by it. Okay, that's kind of cool. Making my way downtown rock. I don't know why that just popped in my head of all things. Elahime, or Elahime, what's up? Welcome, 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 welcome. Yeah, running through a dungeon right now. How you doing? All right, yeah. Hey, taking a small break from work. Nice. I hope work's treating you well today. The fuck is that thing? Alright, you wanna mess with me? Bah! Mess with me. Alright, here we come. Oh boy. Ah, crap. Oh no! No! Don't attack my allies! Stop! That's a cool effect, though. I've encountered it before, I'm pretty sure. It's a little while since I've run into that effect, though. Crap. Ah. Come on, Delirium, recharge already. Oh, shit. Why is it always me? There we go. Come on, go down, go down, go down. Someone's got LB, fucking use it. Alright, guess never mind. I should have just used it by the end there. Meh, but managing. Okay. Well, I hope at the very least you get out soon. Whew. Victory! That was good. And that the healer did good after they remembered they were a healer. Ooh, I got a new pet. Salt and pepper seal. That did freak me out at the beginning, though, when all my health was just, like, nuked. I'm like, where the fuck? Where the fuck are my heals? And the healer in chat, I think they fell in.
Are you all right? Aye. Aye. Everything's still attached.
That's good.
Ah, it seems both our paths led here.
I
Very
beat you.
good.
I won the race.
We spent altogether too much time fleeing fiends horrid and numerous. How fared you?
I spent my entire time slaying fiends horrid and numerous. The fuck is with that haircut and
Much
that
the same,
portrait?
then. 'Twould appear this place is yet inhabited by King Theodoric's kin, or what is left of them. The work of terrible magics, I fear.
Terrible, aye. But their misfortune is our fortune?
Knee slapper.
Right. By the 12, there is even more than I imagined.
Many. Gotta love a good amount of treasure. Gold coins, gold pottery, gold. Look at that fucking hairdo, man.
Oh, I can't wait to see the look on Lisa's face. Thanks for believing in me, you two.
Why wouldn't we have, Arenvold, our good friend, who is totally not going to die? Please. Please don't die. Arenvold and I forged ahead at the fastest pace we could manage, but I was not surprised to find you waiting for us. I suppose it serves us right for challenging the Warrior of Light. Next time, we should agree on some manner of handicap. We may have lost stuff, you know, but think of what we found. Quite. I'm still reeling at the sight of that mountain of riches. What? What? Like how you reeled at the sight of that floating spectre, you mean? You should have heard him scream, Shroud. Poking at him. Must we dwell on such momentary lapses? We found the Mad King's trove, and that is all that matters. Onward is still grinning at Alphinaud's discomfort. All jesting aside, I must tell people the good news, and I think Lee should be the first. Seconded, there is to be a meeting of representatives from across Alamigo, so she is sure to be in the city. Shall we seek her out? Indeed we shall. We need to give the Missy some good old news. Some fantastic anecdotes. She would then more than likely want to hear. Fly, my horse! My mighty steed of flaming horn! See previous chat to answer your question and learn some interesting trivia. First 4.0 post-patch dungeon complete. Indeed. First of I'm assuming many more. Oh, you three look pleased with yourselves. What have you been up to? I'm glad you asked, Elise, and I'm pretty sure you're going to like the answer. Wait, does Arenvold have a crush on her? Can I start the shipping? You're joking. The Mad King's trove? I thought it was a myth. So did plenty of people, but they didn't have Shroud and Alphinaud in their party. The credit for finding it should really go to them. I'm not saying that it was his motivation. Obviously, we know what his motivation was, but I'm curious if there's like a thing there. As for what to do with it all, I vote that it go towards alleviating the suffering of Alamigo's poor. God, if there's as much as you say. Arenvold did not exaggerate, I assure you. We could not hope to carry even a fraction of it on our own. I've taken the liberty of sketching out a rough map of the ruins. If you will assemble a squad of your most trusted freedom fighters, they should be able to follow the route to where the treasure lies. Understood. I'll make sure every coin is accounted for, and that goes for the spending of it as well. Thank you. Oh, there's one other thing. When the time comes to draw up a plan for distributing the spoils, I would ask that you consult Alphinaud. I don't have a head for details. I'm not educated. I see that simply handing out sacks of gear won't solve everything.
but I couldn't rightly tell you what to do instead. Oh, I know the feeling. I'd welcome any advice you could give us. Alright, I give us half an hour. Of course, I shall be at your disposal. Commander, we've got a problem! Deep breath, tell me what's happened. A mob's gathered outside headquarters, and they've started making demands. You'd best come and see for yourself. A mob? Oh joy! A crazy mad mob.
Step back, all of you!
Like hells we will! We know who you've got in there!
We're not leaving till you hand her over!
Or for Dola, okay. Hand her over!
Bring her out! Bring her out!
What's going on?
Someone let slip about Fedora.
It's true then! The bitch really is in there! I knew it! I bloody knew it! We demand vengeance! Bring her out! Today we butcher the butcher!
Oh, that would have been a good title for when we fought her. We butcher the butcher? Ah. Oh yeah, serious situation. Sorry. I envy that. I should hire this man to title my streams.
Come on, you don't mean that! We'd be no better than the Imperials if you'd all just calm down!
I mean, mob justice... Yeah, that's wrong. But I do think she should be executed. I mean, she committed treason of treason, so... Motivations aside, like, the crimes she committed war crimes. A number of them. And I don't believe in mob justice, but... She shouldn't live after committing such heinous acts.
Calm down! That monster and her thrice damned skulls dragged my man from our home and beat him to death in the street!
Aye! And my dad! That bitch has spilt enough blood to fill a lock!
We all know her crimes. She's a traitor and a murderer. How many of your resistance friends have died at her hands, eh? And here you are, protecting her!
So that's what all the fuss is about. Hearken to me, brothers and sisters of Alamigo.
Hey, who's this?
That's the Bull of Alamigo.
The guy doesn't look
My
like someone you
friends,
can fuck with.
You are not alone in your anger, your grief, your despair, for it is mine as well. That gnawing pain in your breast, it is enough to bring an old bull to his knees. But I ask you, brothers and sisters, to think not only of the family and friends who were cut down before your very eyes, but to think also of the ones who were abducted, the ones who may yet live. Where were they taken? What became of them? These questions demand answers.
You know, if they were to elect a king, I'm just saying, I know Roban has some responsibilities in Ul'dah now, but I think he could leave that to Pippin and take charge of Alamigo. I'm just saying, if they were going to go the king route, I know they said they're not going to do that, but if it came down to it and they couldn't find other at the very least, he should be on some kind of council. Whatever they elect.
I share your thirst for justice, for vengeance. But we will gain only fleeting satisfaction if we give in to our base appetites. We will never know the truth. Now is the time that we, the people of Alamigo, must decide what manner of nation we will build for ourselves, and for generations yet unborn. When they look to our example, will they see a people who held fast to their principles, or one who cast them aside when tried? I say to you, it is our responsibility to give these prisoners a fair trial, that they might answer to all of Alamigo. The Garleans called us savages, and I'll be damned if we prove them right.
My point has been made.
I know you're right, I do. But I can't.
Were you just saying to just kill Fordolo before? Yeah. When it was on a battlefield. That's completely different. She's now a prisoner. Once you take someone in as a prisoner, you can't do that now. You have now cuffed them. They have now been made subservient. They've been cowed. But in the middle of a battle, 100% kill someone like that. The moment you put cuffs on them and take them into custody, then it's then it's a mob. Well, it depends on how you do it. And of course, it also depends on the authority lineup. But in this situation, once they cuffed her, they had a responsibility to her safety because they also committed to a trial with her. But in the middle of a battle, if you put someone down during a battle, that's just casualties. That's just the price of combat and war. But again, the moment you put cuffs on them, the situation completely changes. So in this case, mob justice is the wrong thing. It's not a battlefield anymore. Things have settled down. Now it's time. Now you have the luxury of fair trials. Now you have the luxury of those things. So that means Lise was actually thinking ahead then. No, because in the moment she should have killed her.
A new recruit has blessed our company.
I stand by that. Also, thank you to whoever subscribed. Thank you. Yeah, but she should have killed her in the moment. 100%. If you kill a prisoner, you kill the defenseless. Exactly. But if someone dies on the battlefield, that was someone who was fighting. That was somebody who had the chance to win that confrontation and they lost. The price of that can be their head. But when you take them prisoner, the circumstances change entirely. So, nice try, Disillusioned Dork, but you completely failed at conflating the two. Nice try. But, no. I wouldn't say she was necessarily thinking ahead. She chose to give her a fair trial, but she had the option to put her down then and there. Now that, since she took her prisoner, can't do that now. Now it would just be a summary, unjust execution. So, I stand by they should have killed her on the battlefield, but they can't do that now. Not the same way anymore. Now, there must be a trial, there must be witnesses, and there must be a fair representation for the defense. They've invited in the complexity and the luxury of court cases. It means you gotta find her a lawyer. Or whatever the equivalent is for their new justice system. My thanks, Raban. Listening to their anger, I could feel myself being swept away. 'Tis a difficult tide to stem. 'Twas the same rage which brought us to our feet, and carried us to victory. But now the war is over. All the unspent fury is being channeled into vengeance. Aye, and it's not just here. We've reports of mobs forming all over. They've been targeting folk known to have cooperated with the Garleans. It starts with insults most often, then someone picks up a stone. Some industrious souls even thought to seek out the graves of Xenos and his officers. It was grim. Wait, they buried them already? Then that was fast. I want to build a country where everyone, regardless of race or origin, can live side by side in peace. But maybe that time isn't right. Maybe people just aren't ready. Well, it's not that simple. You know, it's not like a switch. It's not like, oh, war's over. Everybody's happy. Everybody can live side by side. Nobody has any grudges. It doesn't work like that. You're looking at a multi-generational conflict of sorts to resolve hatred. It's kind of the same story with Heavensward and the dragons. You know, the confrontation's been so long, it's hard to kill those hatreds. So it's not a switch. You know, it's not done. It's an overtime thing. This generation, fresh off the occupation, are not gonna ever be that mindset. You're gonna have to wait multiple generations. I mean, Fordola is more valuable alive than dead, and with all she knows, as Roban pointed out. Correct, Roban pointed it out. You'll notice Lys didn't. I don't think Lys thought about that. Plus, Lys wanted to prove to her how wrong she had it. I don't think you can prove to somebody who has... The thing is, prove to her what is wrong. At the end of the day, she's earned an execution 100 times over. Proving her right, proving her wrong, doesn't matter. The punishment fits the crime, and she fought in battle. She should have been put down in battle. Lys spared her, and I don't think Lys really thought about what Roban pointed out. Roban definitely did, but I don't think Lys did, because Lys hasn't mentioned it up to this point. Roban's the only one who has. But yeah, technically she was fair game at the time. And it's not even really technically. She was 100% fair game. She fought, she lost. You can kill a combatant once you defeated them in battle. But the moment you sheath that sword and put cuffs on them, the situation completely changes. You have now committed to keeping that person alive for whatever reason. You put cuffs on them, which in a weird way is actually a form of confirmation to them that you're not going to kill them outright. Cuffs are in a weird way a lifeline in a situation like that. You're now a POW, which means you're now also owed a level of treatment. Not necessarily good, but you're owed a level of... At the very least, the level of being kept alive. And at that point, you can't commit to a warrior's execution. The battlefield is over. They should... So, yeah, Roban's right, but I still stand by they should have killed her. They could have found out that information from one of her subordinates. People do not forget and are hard to forgive. Correct. That's why you need to wait for a generation that doesn't know it. You know, you gotta, it's not this current generation that was used to this occupation, they're never gonna forget it. They're never gonna be able to forgive it either. Ever. The generation following them, the ones that have known the occupation, even they will have begrudgings because they're gonna be raised by the generation that did know it. They're gonna be raised by a generation of people that are gonna retell stories about how bad it was. And that'll keep the hatred going. You're looking at a 3 to 4 generation gap before people start to get over it. It's both a compliment and a degradation to our to us as people that we're able to hold a grudge for a long ass time, especially ones this ingrained. But she killed all of her subordinates that were close to her. We don't know that she killed all of them. I don't think that was ever stated confirming. It was confirmed that she tried to kill a good chunk of the skulls that they were fighting at the what was the location. But I don't think it was ever stated that 100% of all of her subordinates were there. Nor that she killed 100% of them. That has never been stated or confirmed. Implied, maybe, but definitely not confirmed. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to try. The representatives will be here soon, and I'll be damned if I'm going to give up before I've even begun. Who are these representatives exactly? Oh, village elders, refugee leaders, and the like. It wouldn't be right for us to dictate the nation's future on our own, so we planned a summit of sorts. We've even invited the Ananta and the Kikern. I still can't say it. Kikern.
Kikern. Yeah, that. Alamigo stands at a crossroads, and this meeting will decide which path it takes. The matter of Fordola's sentence cannot be suffered to disrupt proceedings. Then let's execute her and be done with it. She herself asked to be put to death. Nago, I already explained why we wouldn't do that. I'm with Nago. Sending her to the gallows might satisfy people right now, but where would it end? Should we round up everyone who collaborated? And everyone who didn't resist? There would be no one left. Well, that's... Okay. That's a bullshit segue. I'm gonna point that out right now. Sorry, Elise. That doesn't follow. She's literally the worst of the worst. She shot on her own people. She fought against them, executed them, beat them in the streets. She is the figurehead of this whole shit show. She is worse than the average. Don't make her out to be like she represents all of them, and if you put her down, somehow you're obligated to put them all down. That's not how that works. That's a non-segue. That's a non-connection. I'm sorry, that argument doesn't work. She's the worst. Put her down, and you can leave the others alive. She's not just a collaborator. She's the Butcher. She literally has a title to represent how bad she is. So no, nice try. See, she's not even really... Right now, Lisa's not even listing of her reasons the fact that she knows information. Roban's the only one who's mentioned it. That's not one of Lisa's motivations for it. Begging your pardon, but might I be allowed to speak with Fordola? Only I caught a glimpse of her past. A moment of it, anyway. During the fight. She's done terrible things, aye. Unforgivable things. But, in some ways, she's a victim of the circumstances in which she was born. And that's something I can understand. Here we go. Alright, speak with the prison guard when you're ready. I'll come and join you. I want to talk to her too. I'll return to my other duties then. We've barely begun to investigate. We've barely begun to investigate the facility where they gave Fordola her powers. Be fairly warned, friends. She will test you. Don't let your emotions color your judgment when she does. Alright. You have the commander's permission to enter, then? Yes, I do. Alright. Time to go for Fordola's redemption arc. I don't know if it'll work with me. Like, the horrible shit she did, we'll see. But... let's see if the writing's good enough here to make me see the light with this character. What's up, bitch? I gotta love the cinematography here. It's not animated like an MMO. Like it's not that cheap shit that you see in WoW. Like this is actually properly like camera angles and shit.
Well, well, well. So many visitors. Come to have a good laugh, have you? Or do you mean to put me out of my misery? To finish what you started? It's about bloody time.
No, I think we should do that. But first, let's go through the rigmarole of a trial. We should have done that before, but we didn't, so... now, unfortunately for all of us, we gotta drag this out.
That's not why we're here, no.
Unfortunately.
Do you remember what I said? How I promised you you'd live long enough to see us win our freedom? Well, I meant it. And not to mock you either.
Okay, she's lived long enough to see it. Sorry, I'm a bit draconian in nature.
You're wasting your time.
I kind of think we are, yeah.
of this is pointless. There's no reason to keep me alive, and you know it. I killed your men. I killed my men. And you know what my only regret is? That I didn't kill you when I had the chance!
Again, why didn't we kill her on the battlefield? Oh, God.
That's a lie, and you know it. You think we can't tell what you're trying to do? That we're blind? Yeah, you're a fool, but you're not stupid. You're ruthless. Relentless. You'd give up anything and everything to get what you want.
Who do you think is worse, Fordola or Yotsuyu? I'd say Yotsuyu is worse. Because at least Fordola, to give her some credit, she had, in a way, good motivations. Like, she wanted the war to end too. She was just willing to go to incredibly evil depths to accomplish that. Additionally, she fought herself on she put herself in harm's way. She put herself on the line to achieve that goal. And she didn't kill out of cruelty. She didn't kill because she enjoyed it. She did everything she could because she believed it was for the best of her brothers, the Skulls, and for the future of Alamigo, to acquiesce to the Empire. She believed that was what was best. As completely misguided as it was, at the very least, she was attempting to achieve a positive. Yotsuyu not only did not fight her own fights, not only was she a coward, not only was she despicable, but she was a sociopath who took absolute joy in the misery and suffering of others. She is the pinnacle of everything I hate in villains, and I don't even mean like because they're supposed to be hateable in that way. I mean like she's just a pure hateable villain. Like there's nothing about the best villains are ones that you can kind of understand where they come from. But with a sociopath like a Yotsuyu who enjoyed, she said it herself, she saw a broken, beaten, bloody Doman in the street and her heart skipped a beat with joy. She was jubilant at the idea. She took pleasure in the misery and suffering of other people just because she had misery and suffering in her life. And again, I've had misery and suffering in my life. I'm not going to go into it. But, you know, I've been sent to the hospital by people I've been in a relationship with. I've had my ribs damaged. I've had a nice friendly baseball bat thrown to the ribs. And I know what it's like to be in an abusive situation like that and to suffer through it and have some, as well as physical scars, some mental scars after the fact. I know what it's like to have that. And you know what I never thought after that? You know what I never thought? You know what? Because I suffered like this, it's okay if I punch someone in the face. It's okay if I go to my ex and grab her baseball and kick her and bash her teeth in. I never thought that once. I never thought causing misery to others was okay or even preferable just because I suffered. I don't think that follows, and I hate that. And in Yotsuyu's case, there was nothing respectable about her whatsoever. She was a completely pathetic, unrelatable, virtually unsympathizable character. So, in Yotsuyu's case, she is literally the bottom of the barrel of the type of villains that I quote-unquote like. So, Yotsuyu's worse. At the very least, Fordola had a positive she was trying to achieve. She just went the worst path possible. She went the worst path possible due to her naivety to achieve it. And even now, I know what she's trying to do. She's trying to get them to kill her because she feels regret now that she realizes she made the wrong choice. But that doesn't mean she doesn't deserve to die.
You didn't come this far, climbing over the bodies of your own brothers and sisters just to piss it all away. I see you, Fordola. I see you for what you are.
And apparently so do we now. Alright. Alright, shoot it up. What big revelation are we about to get here that's gonna change my mind? Better be something good.
along, Fadola. We mustn't be late. The Imperial Viceroy will be attending today's banquet.
Alright, mother sounds pretentious.
All right. Father, what's Lord Gaius like? Is he nice? Are you friends?
There you go again with all your questions. Lord Gaius is a great and honourable man who looks after all of Alamigo. He's very busy, and if we don't hurry, we'll miss our chance to see him.
So, they don't look like they're living in poverty.
Filthy tin-head lovers.
Father, what did that man call us?
The little tin-head lover doesn't know what she is, eh? A traitor, sweetheart. A backstabbing bitch who'd gladly betray her kith and kin to gnaw on what few scraps the Imperials deign to toss her. Like your bastard father and whore mother.
That's not true! My parents are good people! They've never done anything like that!
Okay.
Oh, but they were quick to help themselves and their bitch spawn, weren't they? You're just as guilty as them.
There's gonna be more to this, right? Because one guy just being an ass, which, to be fair, he's wrong. He's obviously being unreasonable, but
Fadola!
Traitors!
alright.
Please, you have to do something. My husband and daughter are in danger.
Soldiers of the Imperial Army are under no obligation to intervene in the disputes of arms.
We're citizens. We have rights.
I'm scared.
Right, now we're actually getting into
It's all
stuff
right.
that is actually
They
substantive.
don't understand, but they'll see in time. They'll see that this is the only way to survive.
The only way? No.
Traitors! Traitors!
Let the savages have their fun. They'll be more compliant once they've tired themselves out.
I'm surprised Fordola doesn't hold the Empire at least partially responsible for that. For a second there, I was worried that the guy insulting them was the worst that there was going to be shown. For a second there. I'm glad there was actually more to it. I'm not glad what happened,
You
but...
already have citizenship. Why would you want to become a soldier? Oh, gods. What have you done to your face?
Forgotten it already, have you? I'm honouring Father's memory.
I wonder what that mark means.
By telling the world that you know better than a common savage.
Am I though, Mother? Are any of us? Can't you see? Citizenship means nothing to them. If you're not a pure-blood Garlean, you're no different from any other savage.
Exactly.
So I'll play the part. I'll join the Legion and I'll make them respect me. And when the mob see that, they'll think twice before throwing their stones. Ansfrid, Rudolph, Emlyn. It's time.
Oh, look, all the faces you're gonna kill.
It'll be hard. Humiliating. They'll try to break us. Send us crawling back to our own kind. But we won't, no matter what. We'll bleed for them, die for them if we have to. We'll do whatever it takes to be free!
Actually, I wonder where her mom is now. Still in the city, maybe? Oh, she might have... Also, she might have passed away. I don't know.
So, you mean to play the part one last time, eh? The unrepentant traitor whose death will serve to unite the people?
Shut up.
You had every chance to kill yourself. Fashion a noose from your clothes. Wait for the guards to leave you alone long enough to slip it over your neck.
I said shut up!
Oh, but then it would have all been for nothing, wouldn't it? Whatever it takes. That's what you said.
Been in my head, have you? Had a little peek at my past?
Oh, she knows. I always wondered if people knew that.
And what? A few stolen memories tell you everything you need to know, do they?
I wouldn't call them stolen, more like we copied and pasted them.
Don't you dare patronize me! You don't know a god's damned thing about the life I've led!
Well, now we know a little bit more, actually. Granted, we don't know the whole story, correct, but we know a good chunk of the motivation. Which, as tragic as it is, definitely earns a little bit more sympathy points in my regard. Still doesn't think that clears you off the death penalty list. Like, she was never compelled to do what she's chosen to do.
The bastards that let it happen! My father deserved better! I swore I'd do whatever it took to make them pay!
Oh, she's seeing our past. Wait, does she only see those flashes, or does she actually see those events as they played out?
You. All that power. All that pain. It's too much. Too much for anyone. The things they've done to you. The lies. The betrayal. The endless fighting.
I'm really liking where this is going, damn.
Yet there you stand.
I actually kind of forgot she had the fake echo, or the artificial echo.
How? Why?
Ooh, okay. Damn, this is going down. Whew. I'm liking this. I'm really liking this. Okay. You know why you saw, for those I have lost, for those I can yet save, because I choose to. Oh. I definitely don't want to answer with one, so I'm trying to think. Both 2 and 3 are true. for those I have lost and for those I can yet save is been the line I've stuck to, and I agree with it. Yotsuyu still has her story to tell. There's round 2 with her. I will be impressed if they can redeem Yotsuyu. This is Dark 3. I'm not putting it to a vote. Like I for those I have lost and for those I can yet save is fairly true to like my character. And you know, into Shroud's backstory. I do have a backstory for that, by the way, written up. Let me know if at any point y'all want to see like a video going over like the roleplay side of like Shroud, my character's backstory. I do have one, so if you guys ever want to know that in like a video or something, let me know. But Shroud as a character would probably say for those I have lost, for those I can yet save.
Damn you. Damn you all.
You still have time, Fordola. Think about how you want to spend it. Let's go.
Hey man, I made backstories for both my characters, so I'm down. Nice. Maybe a brief summary? Do it for all character creation games. Are you telling me to do it for all, or do you say like you do it for all character creation games? I do it for most RPGs. Adds a layer of fun for me. Alright. I don't know that we solved anything exactly, but we've given Fordola something to think about at least. Aye. And I've found something new to think about too. I don't know about you, Shroud, but the visions only come to me every now and then. From the way Fordola kept wincing, though, I get the feeling she's having them almost all the time. That's a lot of bad memories to deal with. I wonder, could there be some fundamental difference between one who is born with the Echo and one who has been artificially imbued with it? Well, the immortal flames have been scouring the research facility ever since the liberation. There's a chance they might have some answers for us. General Alden's been overseeing the investigation. Let's go and pay him a visit, shall we? Sounds like a good idea. Echoes of an Echo. Kind of a lazy name for a quest, but it's charming. I do it for all character creation games. Okay. Alright, so on to Alden. General Alden is inside, aye? Will you be joining him? Yes, I will. Ominous music. Ah, Roban. What news? You spoke with Fordola, I take it? Yes, as expected, she didn't say very much, but it wasn't a total waste of time. Arnvold noticed something odd about her. He thinks she might be having visions almost constantly, which is not how the Echo normally works. Have you found anything here which might explain why it's so different from her? For her. We've been hard-pressed just to organize the research materials, let alone study them, to be frank. I'd welcome the Scion's expert assistance if you have time to lend a hand. Echoes of an echo of an echo of an echo of an echo. Echo, echo, echo. Right. Magitic bod. The device in which Cryo was held seems even more ominous now you know its purpose. The surrounding pods are marked Supply Subject, which this one bears the label Master Subject. Oh, okay. So it's not just a matter of they looked into what makes up the Echo and then replicated it. Okay, so if I'm understanding that detail correctly, Master Subject, which tells me that Kryle's Echo was what they used. Okay, because I didn't assume that before. I assumed that they had looked at her Echo and used it as a template to make the artificial ones. But I take from that it's actually a little more complex now. It's actually more of a case where they actually directly replicated her Echo onto others. So that also might explain why Fordola's Echo is malfunctioning in the sorts. It's because it's literally a grafted on Echo, not just a replicated one, but a copy of someone else's. So it might be on the fritz because of that. The Ironworks received a request from the Alliance to analyze these devices, and I've been recording everything of interest. Did you notice the label? All the pods are designed to drain the ether from the occupant, save the one right here. Unlike the others, the interior has been fitted with an array of sensors to measure etheric waveforms. To what purpose, however, I couldn't tell you. Are those body bags? I can't really tell. I don't think so. Yep, those are? Okay. Just us and the void, void. So many oh, they are body. Every one of them a victim of these experiments. Few show any signs of external injury. From what we've been able to determine, they perished from forcible ether extraction. Such a miserable way to die. I know little and less of science, so any light you can shed on this facility's operations would be much appreciated. Shroud, shall we start with you? Yeah, that label over there tells me this. Taken in combination with the testimonies of Kryle and Thancred, I do begin to see exactly what the Imperials were attempting here. The enhancement procedure entailed infusion a single candidate with ether siphoned from a multitude of supply subjects. As for the master subject, in this case Kryle, the patterns of her etheric activity would provide the model upon which they would artificially engineer the candidate's aura. In other words, they were trying to recreate Kryle's Echo? I believe so, which would explain our prisoner's present state. Kryle is possessed of an unrivaled ability to hear the whispers of the soul, and it seems probable that the procedure engendered the same acute sensitivity to Fordola. The soldiers who guard Fordola, many of them lost friends and family to the skulls. And there's a sentry at her door, night and day, if she can't help sensing their thoughts and seeing their past. But you don't just see their past, you live it. All the emotions, all the pain. Imagine what it'd do to you. You'd never be the same again. Now with that context in there, if you could convince a jury of that, that right there in itself could be the punishment. It's kind of worse than death. Like, to relive, essentially, your victim's experiences and not only relive the moment, like, see it, but actually relive the pain you caused. If you could, like, use that as a punishment, I would say that's a good replacement for the death penalty. Of course, it wouldn't work on psychopaths, because, you know, psychopaths don't feel empathy or emotion, so they really wouldn't be able to relate. But for like a normal person who committed a heinous act who's unapologetic about it, I could see that as being a tangible replacement for a punishment. Of course, you'd have to convince like a jury of peers that that's what's happening, and not just made up bullshit. That would be the hard part. You live it. All the emotions, all the pain, imagine what it'd do to you. You'd never be the same again. Indeed. As you may recall, Izael was completely transformed by a single glimpse of Hraesvelgur's past. Fordola has been forced to experience the agony of those whose lives she destroyed. The guilt must be unbearable. That explains her request to be executed. Sounds to me like a kind of justice. Regardless, she can suffer on for now. We have more pressing matters to consider. If the results of these experiments have been relayed back to Garlemald, there will be naught to stop the Empire from repeating the trick. They could give the echo to anyone, to an entire legion. We must be ready. We must learn all we can of these god-forsaken procedures, and Fordola remains our best source of information. She'll not be getting her wish. Not yet. Right. Keep faith, lass. If you're to convince others to follow you, you must believe what you're telling them. People will respond to passion, but not if it's feigned. I understand. Thank you, General. We should leave the flames to it. Let's go. The plot thickens. Yeah, if you could replicate that as some kind of punishment, I would definitely like bring like the worst victims of Fordola to her as like her sentence punishment. Have her relive those memories. Psychopaths do have emotions. Their morality and sense of empathy or lack thereof is warped and twisted beyond recognition. Alright, I had the same debate with somebody on Total War stream, so let's just clarify. So, when it comes to psychopath and sociopath, as it is used academically, psychopath and sociopath are used interchangeably, but the understanding in which, and the definitions I go based on are based on a certain novel I read, which was a research novel. It's not like a fiction novel. When it comes to psychopaths and sociopaths, here's the difference. Psychopaths do not have empathy. They do not have sympathy. They don't have those things. They cannot feel them. They do feel emotions. They do feel things to themselves, but they do not feel empathy or sympathy or empathy. So you're right. But I still think the echo wouldn't be effective on them because yes, they would live those emotions in those moments, but the thing to take away once you exit the vision is that sympathy and empathy for the person, because now you know integrally what they experienced. So you need to be capable of feeling sympathy and empathy to really take away the lesson from that. All it is a brief, for a psychopath, all it would be is a brief torture. But the moment that the vision ends is the moment that they stop giving a fuck. So it still wouldn't really work. But you're right, they'd still be able to feel the emotion, because they have them, but it would only be for themselves. The moment the vision ended, they wouldn't have that takeaway of like, oh, I feel bad for you, or I can empathize with you. They just lack that ability. Sociopaths, on the other hand, do have sympathy and do have empathy. They just don't think the rules apply to them. They're typically more manic. Typically they're very emotional people. So it's one of those things where it can get complex. But I'd say like the standard idea of a psychopath, as I understand psychopaths, that punishment would still be less effective. The most you could use it as is cruel and unusual punishment, but the actual empathy, sympathy, the part of it that they would need to take away lessons from the situation, they don't have. So it still wouldn't work on them. So you'd still have to put them down. But in Fordola's case, she's pretty much a normal person in terms of how her brain works, anyway. I go looking for answers about the Echo and end up getting schooled by Roban. Yet more evidence that I don't know what I'm doing. It's no wonder people listen to him and not me. Oh yeah, well the thing to take away is that Roban is a good example of which to aspire to be. He is a leader. In some ways he's a natural leader, but in other ways he's taught himself to be a leader. He's taught himself the confidence. He's become the leader out of necessity. These are things he's learned through hard-earned experience. You're a young leader. I know she can't hear me, but I'm just saying it. You're a young leader, Lise. Like you had it thrust upon you. You're still acclimating to the role. You, in time, through regular experiences with it, you'll learn to have the same confidence, the same boldness, the same assertiveness. It's just about practice, like with anything. General Alden is a veteran of countless campaigns, Lise. You cannot compare yourself to a commander of his experience. Which is true. I know, but I also know that I couldn't have convinced that mob to give up and go home. It makes me realize how much we rely on his authority, and how much I still have to learn. I wonder what he'll do when everything here is settled. I mean, it's his homeland. After going to the trouble of winning it back, might he not want to stay? 'Tis a quandary which countless refugees now face, to continue the life they built in Ul'dah, or start again in the land of their birth. Shroud, a moment? I am newly returned from Ul'dah, with a message from the Sultana. Her Grace desires an audience with you. She understands that you have responsibilities here, but asks that you visit the palace at your earliest convenience. Well, I must away and attend to other business. Until next time, my friends. An audience with the Sultana? Depending on the nature of her consultation, this might be a perfect opportunity to inquire about the General's future plans. Look on our character's face. Crap. Yes, we'd all like to know about those. Alphino, but not everyone. But not everyone's as comfortable interrogating royalty as you. Take no notice of Shroud. Alright. Well, the question is how to put the Mad King's treasures to good use. Good use shows no sign of answering itself. Shall we be about it, Arnvold? I'm at your beck and call. And I should be getting back to my own tasks. I'll organize a squad to head down into the ruins, and then start preparing for the big meeting. Oh, send Nanamo my regards, Shroud. Nanamo. I keep saying Nanamo, but it's Nanamo. And ours too, if you please. We shall see you on your return. As long as wine and goblets aren't involved. Yeah. You love Maine? Oh, have you been here? Have you been to Maine AA? I love it here. Yeah. Alright. Speak with the Sultana. You visited last weekend. Oh, nice. Yeah, it's an amazing place. Fall is the best time of the year in Maine. It's when the temperature starts to go down. I mean, this is about the time of year where the average temperature is about 50 degrees. It's nice and cool. Also, we have so many trees and so much forestry that the beautiful bright yellow and red and orange of the leaves as the weather changes is on full display. Now, this is the best time of the year to visit. Oh. Mid to late October to early November. Of course, if you also want to come to in the summertime, there's a lot of green, bright vegetation. Temperatures don't usually go above 90. Usually. We do have 100-degree days, but they're really rare. And most of the people in the state nearly die. Leaves are changing color now. Nice. Yeah, we already got some falling from the trees. Of course, the pine trees don't change, but, you know, the normal, actual oak trees do. Yeah, we're already getting some orange. Not a lot, but we're already getting some orange in the tree mixtures. Maine's famous for lobster, right? We're famous for two things: Stephen King and lobster. Well, seafood in general, but lobster is our biggest export. Ours haven't gone into full fall mode yet. Ours aren't in full yet. Like I said, we're only getting some orange here and there. But about mid-October is when everything's going to start turning orange and yellow. We're going to see a lot less green. Yeah, fall is my favorite time of year. Not only do I love Halloween, do I love, like, the Halloween season. It's my favorite holiday outside of Christmas. But I also just love, like, I love the temperature, I love the smell, I love, like, just the entire vibe of fall in Maine is the most beautiful, perfect time of year. Yeah, but we're already getting some orange and we're already getting some leaves falling, so yeah. It usually starts at the beginning of October is when we actually start seeing the change, but it's in full force about mid-October. And it finishes up around mid-November. Mid to early November is when it completely finishes up. And that's when we're in full winter mode. We usually get our first bit of snow this month. It usually melts really quickly, but this is the time of year where we start getting snow. This month is usually when we start getting our first swifts of snow. And nighttime, the temperatures are going to start dropping to around 20 to 15 degrees. Keep in mind, I'm talking Fahrenheit. So when I said earlier 50 degrees, that's Fahrenheit. That's not Celsius. Fall is best season in most places, except for the Pacific Northwest, I suppose. Possibly. Kindred Spirit. Same here, too. I love fall. Yes, fall is my favorite time of year. The winter seasons are my second favorite time of the year, though. I'd say summer is my least favorite time of year, but that's because I hate the heat and I hate the humidity. I love how everything looks outside during the summer. It's bright green. It's very lively, but it's too hot, too humid. I can't enjoy it when I'm sweating buckets. But the wintertime and fall, favorite times of the year. Fall is my favorite. Winter is my second favorite. Give me snow any day. You are expected, my lord. Please proceed. Oh, I'm a lord now.
I thank you for answering my summons in these most interesting times. You have been busy.
Indeed I have, my dear. It's good to see you again.
The liberation of Alamigo will have far-reaching consequences, and there is a matter upon which I would seek your counsel. I speak of Rauban and his future. All know the tale of his rise from penniless refugee to member of the Syndicate and General of the Immortal Flames. Yet though he has come to call Uldar home, it will never be his homeland. He is a son of Alamigo.
Did her voice actress change? She sounds a little older. Like, I know it changed from A Realm Reborn, but it sounds different from Heaven's Ward.
And now that she is free, I thought it only a matter of time before he sought my leave to return to her. Indeed, I had resigned myself to his loss. Suffice it to say, I was greatly surprised to hear him speak so lightly of handing over the reins in Alamigo and retaking his place at my side. I will welcome him with open arms, of course. He is my most trusted advisor and my dearest friend. But I have known the man a long time, and beneath that steely gaze, I spied a flicker of doubt. Whether Rauban chooses to remain in Uldar or return to Alamigo, I only wish that he do so with a heart unburdened by guilt or regret. Yet, how can he freely make such a choice, knowing how much I depend on him? It is past time that I learned to discharge my duties as a sultana alone. I must go forth and see my realm with my own eyes, and hear the wind with my own ears.
It's a very complex situation they're in.
Might I have your company for a brief adventure?
Of course. Would you like my arm? I'll have to kneel down, but we got this. Or my shoulder. I can put you on my shoulder, Roban style.
Wonderful.
Acting as
Allow
bodyguard
me a
for the
moment to
day.
change into something a touch less conspicuous, and I will join you outside.
Do you have permission from your guards? Alright, so we're gonna meet her at the quicksand. Okay. My apologies, but feeling a bit uncomfortable now. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I didn't mean to make you feel uncomfortable, Ahimi. I am very sorry. I am very sorry. I did not real. I apologize to everyone watching if this has become uncomfortable. I deeply apologize for that. I did not intend that. I deeply apologize for that. I should have. I probably shouldn't have engaged in this conversation. I apologize to everyone, deeply. That is my bad. I am very sorry. I didn't realize I was making anyone feel uncomfortable. I am so sorry. Well, it is my fault, Alahimi. I understand your motivation for saying that, but it is my fault. It is my fault. You know, I shouldn't have let this conversation go on. I shouldn't have let it. We're gonna end it here. I'm sorry, AA. You can DM me on Discord for the rest of it. I don't know if we're still friends on Discord, but you can DM me on Discord. We can have a conversation there, but I have let this get out of hand. Deeply apologize to Alahime, and I am so sorry that if anyone's felt uncomfortable during this conversation, I deeply apologize. That was not my intention. My intention was to help. But I'm cutting it off here. I am so sorry. From the moment I became Sultana, I found myself thrust into an endless parade of document signing and ceremonies. For years, I simply signed where I was told to sign, and sat where I was told to sit, blissfully oblivious to what any of it meant. Yet one good thing did come from that ignominious chapter in my life, for it was during an official visit to the Colosseum that I first met Roban. The match I had been invited to attend was not at all what I expected. They had pitted the Bull of Alamigo against some dozen or so rival gladiators. Blinkered though I was, I would not stand for so obvious an injustice, and demanded to see a fair fight, one man against another, and my royal wish was duly granted. It was not until later that I learned of the gambling ring which had arranged for Roban to die on the sands that day. Regardless of my intervention, I meant that Roban had but a single opponent to dispatch, which he duly did. And when he knelt before me to receive the winner's purse, he swore that he would one day offer me his blade in service. Surrounded as I was by liars and manipulators, I confess I dismissed it as a pleasant piece of theater. But as you know, Roban is a man of his word. Though it took him another 5 years of fighting on the blood sands, he amassed a fortune so great as to buy not only his freedom, but a seat on the syndicate, And then I had my blade. Are we actually gonna see it? That'd be cool. I love the slow-mo.
Your Grace, you mustn't! The danger is too great! Please, Your Grace, come back! I beg of you!
It seems you're the one who needs looking after, Master Sham. Raban!
Your Grace, I have kept the promise made.
So you have, and in turn, so too shall I keep mine.
That was actually super fucking cute. Just ran around and then jumped off the guy.
The 6 most wealthy souls
That was
in
great.
Ulda. And so, as tradition dictates, Rauben Aldin, you have earned yourself a seat on the Syndicate. May your new station garner you still greater glories.
I am honored, Your Grace, and vow to serve with every fiber of my being from this day till my last. Long live the Sultana, and long live Ulda!
That was super cute, though. Words cannot well express what that man means to me. There are others who care deeply for my well-being, of course. Papa Sean's love for me is as that of a grandsire to his grandchild. But upon matters of governance, I cannot turn to bodyguards and maidservants for counsel. Roban, with the authority of his syndicate position, was the first sword I could wield. His was the only edge which could cut the strings that bound me. For we must make haste. My absence will not go unnoticed by the Sultan Sworn for long, and there are other places I would visit. To the Arzaneth Oshery. Where is that? Oh, it's by the Thaumaturge's Guild. Right.
Should have remembered that.
When the calamity threatened, Roban led the Alliance forces into battle on the plains of Cartanu, and I remained here. I prayed with all my heart that Archon Louis Soir would have the power to rouse the 12. Since that day I have made a custom of visiting this shrine during each of my little excursions. Here I seek the blessing of Thal, reflect upon my choices,
and ask myself if I am fulfilling my duties as Sultana. You are rightly celebrated as a champion because you have led the line in 100 battles for the good of Eorzea. In much the same way, I believe the measure of a monarch lies in how she leads her people in times of adversity. If I am to be a Sultana worthy of the name, I cannot turn a blind eye to the troubles of facing Ul'dah. I have chosen my path, Shroud. With Alamigo now freed from Imperial chains, I finally see a way to aid the refugees.
Yeah, send them home. Well, not to phrase it too brassly, but send them home. I mean, and I don't mean that like, oh, get out of here. I mean like, if they actually like give them provisions and even escort them back to Alamigo, they now have a safer place to live. They have their actual home to go back to now.
Already, many displaced Alamegans seek to begin the long trek home. To facilitate that process, I have made a small contribution, an artisan school in Ralger's Reach, for any who wish to learn new trades. Realistically, however, it will take years for such training to yield tangible benefits. But we do not have years. These people will need shelter and employment if they are to survive, and this time, the Ul'dah treasury shall provide. Precisely where and how to allocate the necessary funds is, of course, another question. Might you ask a member of the Syndicate for advice? I wouldn't do it. Why not seek the advice of one who employs refugees? A wise suggestion. Mayhap a visit to the Gold Saucer is in order. Its proprietor is a member of the Syndicate, and he is one of the few who pay refugees a fair wage. I wonder, are you acquainted with... Are you acquainted with Godbert Mandeville?
Yes, I am. A little too well.
Then I need not explain his eccentric nature. Let us make our way to the landing, and I will see that word is sent to the Gold Saucer. Godbert should be only too glad to receive us.
Are we both going? Made a start? Nice. Alright. To the airship landing. Oh yeah, that's right, I gotta run over. Ah, damn it. I keep forgetting you can't mount up. Alright, we'll just run there.
A new recruit has blessed our company.
Thank you to whoever subscribed. I can't see yet. The alert will pop in. Overlord Krill, thank you for subscribing. I don't know if they're watching right now, but thank you for subscribing. Alright, Nanamo.
I have ridden aboard a public airship before, but this shall be my first visit to the Gold Saucer. Must confess to some excitement.
I'll just zip on over to the Gold Saucer.
I had heard descriptions of its splendor, but I never dreamed it would be so bright and inviting.
Of course, it's a casino.
No, I couldn't possibly. We did not come here to fritter away the royal coin. Godbert will be expecting us. Come, let us head directly to the lounge and ignore these gaudy temptations.
God, I love this place. Oh wait, that's right. I gotta go to second level. I think, I mean. Oh wait, hold on. No, there she is. Okay.
I believe this is where we are to meet Lord Mandeville. Shall we sit while we wait for his coming?
Yeah. Sure thing. Ah, crap. What was the last voice I did for Godbert?
My apologies, Your Grace. I have kept you waiting. No apologies are necessary, Godbert. My request was sudden, and you were kind to make yourself available at such short notice. When my son's good friend and the Sultana herself come calling, there's no more important engagement.
This is just the one I'm running with. I can't remember what the actual one I did last time was.
As to the purpose of my visit, I would have your thoughts on how the Crown might best aid the refugees residing in Thanlin. You are aware, I am sure, that many of Alamigo's displaced sons and daughters long to return to their newly liberated homeland, and you are also aware of how they will suffer without shelter and work to sustain them. I would use our nation's wealth to spare them that suffering. What advice have you for me on the matter of how it might best be distributed?
The unusual circumstances of our meeting, and your Grace's choice of companion, would suggest to me a desire for an honest and unvarnished opinion. I shall give you one. My advice to you is, stop. Taxing Uldar's wealth to save Alamegan refugees is a terrible, terrible idea.
You oppose my proposition?
Most emphatically. I agree with your Grace that the refugees must have housing and employment, but what profit is there for Uldar in this arrangement?
True. Alright, have a good one, Ball. Thank you for joining, man. Have a great night.
Profit? After all you have done for Garabania's displaced, I thought you the very last person to seek to benefit from their misfortune.
Forgive me, your Grace, but you appear to be laboring under a misapprehension. It is a fine endeavor to support one's fellow man. I fear, however, that your stance is one born of pity. Your intent is to save the refugees, is it not? For all our potential, we are indolent creatures by nature. If unconditional charity is all we know, then we begin to rely upon it, to expect it.
And yeah, he's right. And it's the same. It's the old adage. Teach a man to fish. Oh, that's not how it starts. Give a man a fish, he eats for a day. Teach a man to fish, he eats for life. It's that old adage. Charity doesn't fix the situation. It can actually make things worse.
And then we must consider Uldar's own poor and downtrodden. Should they hear of you spending the nation's coin, not to improve their lot, but to nurture the distant citizens of Alamigo, it is unlikely they will applaud your generosity. Surely it is not your Grace's intention to foster new resentments, but to spread goodwill.
Indeed. Then any support I pledge to the refugees must promote self-sufficiency, whilst also serving the interests of the people of Uldar.
Exactly so. Such an arrangement will create a far more equitable relationship with the returning Alamegans, even as it generates the revenue required to win the approval of your subjects. You've given me much to ponder, Lord Mandeville. I thank you for your candor.
Wise as he's always been.
What the? There we go, damn. Prophet. The thought never even crossed my mind. But standing about lamenting my naivete will not do anyone any good. I shall consider my lesson learned and press on. Shroud, are you perchance acquainted with any successful merchants? If my attempt at philanthropy is obliged to reap a profit, it would seem wise to consult someone with a knack for business. I think we know a couple merchants. Ordinarily, I would not trust any agent of the East Aldenard Trading Company, but if you hold this Hancock... Oh, we're suggesting Hancock? Fellow in high esteem, I am content to be led by you. You may repay my faith by journeying to distant Kugane and speaking with him on my behalf. Eager though I am to visit these shores, I have not the leisure for a lengthy sea voyage. Now, assuming you will travel as adventurers are wont to do, I shall await your report by the Aetheryte in Uldar. A fair journey to you, Shroud, and a swift one, if you please.
Yes, ma'am. Alright guys, I'm gonna end it there. We didn't even finish 4.1, which is sad. Things got really distracted. Things got really distracted. Next time we're gonna avoid that. I'm gonna carte blanche conversations like that from now on, because first of all, I feel really bad that any viewer felt uncomfortable. That was not my intention. Hopefully they'll come back. If not, I feel even worse. But yeah, my intention was not for any uncomfortability, anything like that. I was just trying to converse with AA. But yes, especially in hindsight, being 2020, it was not a conversation that needed to be had on stream for multiple reasons. It distracted from what should have been going on, and that's my bad. I apologize to everyone for that, and we'll pick this back up on Sunday. I'll see you guys Sunday to pick this back up, and till then, have a great day.